Bill Belichick dissing Terry Fontenot? So, if you didn't see, Belichick, of course, being announced as the UNC football head coach, also had an article come out on ESPN kind of detailing his journey since he left the Patriots and got passed over by the Falcons and 6 other NFL teams. He only got one interview, Atlanta, or the one team interviewed him, and he decided not to wait around for another round of hires from the NFL. He decided to jump into the college ranks and join the UNC Tar Heels. But in this ESPN article, there were some quotes that came across the wire that really jumped out to me, including this one. Listening to Fontenot discuss drafting systems last January as if he knew it all bothered him, a Belichick confidant says. Dun dun dun. Spot the lie. He's not wrong. He being Bill. What background does Terry Fontenot have as the Falcons GM to say he has the, magic key to drafting? Fontenot has not been a very good drafter as the Falcons GM. Here are some of his best picks. Drake London, very good pick. You also had a top 10 draft pick, so you're kind of expected to do well there. Same for Bijan. I like the trade up for Matthew Bergeron. He's a high-end starting guard. Drew Dahlman, round 4. That's a great find. Same goes for Tyler Algier. These are really good picks based on where you found them. But your calling card as a GM should not be, man, I nailed these guys right here. That sounded weird. I nailed these picks right here. The ball was teed up for you. You're picking top 10. You're supposed to. But the list of bad picks by Fontenot is much longer. Kyle Pitts, 4th overall. Objectively, just not a good draft pick given where he was taken. Not a bad player, but you expect a lot more from being the 4th player taken in the draft. Richie Grant, failure. Arnold Ebiketie, I don't know just yet. That's why I put a question mark next to him. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out. But for round 2, I think we could all agree if they could go back in time and do it all over again, they would not take him. Desmond Ridder, did not work out. D'Angelo Malone, failure. Jalen Mayfield, failure. Zach Harrison, he's playing fewer snaps in year 2 than he was in year 1. Darren Hall, round 4 is where I kind of draw the line of, all right, I'm not going to be nitpicky on who you pick in rounds 5, 6, and 7. The whole draft is a crapshoot, but that really becomes a big crapshoot. So overall, Fontenot has many more misses than makes. And listen, drafting is not easy. There are plenty of misses for all 32 GMs. But his misses are way larger than his makes, and most of his makes were layups. You were given the top 10 pick because of how bad the team played last year that you constructed the roster for. It's a bad cycle to be like, I keep nailing those top 10 picks. Yeah, but why are we picking top 10? Has the Falcons improved? I'm not trying to make this entire video one big hit piece on Terry Fontenot. But if Bill Belichick says, yeah, that GM in Atlanta kind of got under my skin talking about he knows everything there is about drafting when he's not been a very good drafter, that's a very fair piece of criticism to say. So I think moving forward for the next couple of years, we'll always have this big what if about Belichick passing or the Falcons passing on Belichick. Raheem Morris is not looking too great right now. And a big reason why Atlanta did not pursue Belichick was they were afraid Belichick would shake things up too much in the front office. As if that's a bad thing? What has this front office given this fan base since 2017? Nothing but losing football. So they didn't want the guy that was going to shake things up to protect their derrieres, not putting what's best for the fans in mind. That's their job. This is the entertainment industry. Fans are not entertained because you keep losing. And you were afraid of bringing in a coach that might push you guys out. The guys that have been losing. I stand by Belichick for this one. As if Fontenot's got a good track record of drafting. So how would you grade Terry as a GM? He's done some good things, right? He has, right? They're not all complete failures. Jesse Bates, incredible signing. But for me, the misses are starting to stack up too large, and we are staring at another 7-win season under Terry Fontenot. At what point are we just going to call it what it is? This team has been underwhelming with him as the general manager. I give him a C-. I don't think it's a complete failure of a job. Being 7-10 is, all right, there's some levels of competency. And sure, not all of it completely falls on him. Arthur Blank may have wanted Kirk Cousins. Maybe Arthur Smith picked a quarterback or two, right? But at the end of the day, like, you had the keys to the kingdom for so many drafts, like especially that 2021 draft. Think about their first 3 picks: Kyle Pitts, Richie Grant, Jalen Mayfield. 3 straight picks and complete failures for where they were taken and how long they even lasted on this roster. Only Pitts is left. I mean, it's a complete dumpster fire of a draft class that I think really set Atlanta back in 2021. It's time to start looking in front of you. Your eyes are not deceiving you. He's got a couple of good picks, and kudos to him. Like, drafting isn't easy. There's no guarantee. But, I mean, if your calling card is, hey, I picked Drake London, that was a great pick, right? Yeah, I guess so. But for every good pick, there were 3 bad ones, it seemed like. So, I like I said, I'm going to side with Belichick on this one here. And if things don't improve dramatically the rest of this year or next year, I think we're going to look back at this as, hey, this is one big mistake Atlanta made, passing on Belichick because they wanted to protect the GM, who really hasn't been doing a very good job of being a GM based on his draft history. I'm just going off of the picks here. Am I wrong? All right, next up on the show, I want to talk about Raheem Morris. He discussed Kirk Cousins staying the starter for this team moving forward. I've got some thoughts on that to share. But first, a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Let's say you want to go to a Falcons game, a Hawks game, or any other sporting event in your area. What you got to do first is you got to download Game Time, then redeem code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Then you're going to enjoy savings because you're not going to spend an extra $20 that could be devoted to parking or concession run. Plus, visit the Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you the best value based on where the seat is and what the cost is. So once again, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins staying put as this team's starting quarterback. Raheem Morris has not left it open to interpretation. He has been adamant that Cousins is going to remain this team's starting quarterback. In his latest presser, he had this to say: I feel like he is going to come out of this thing and he's going to go on a run here and get us to do the things that we need to do. Walking away from that, kind of had the realization of, I see why players love Raheem Morris, why he is a very popular coach. He is, if one thing, confident. He will go up in front of a room and he will take control of that room, and he is not going to try and play neutral and play both sides and, leave things open to interpretation. He is going to stand there and stick by his guys. And if I were a player, I'd love that, right? If I were Kirk Cousins right now, there's nothing I could hear that would be more motivating than my coach just essentially laughing off the idea of benching the starting quarterback. As a player, that has to be quite reassuring. But here's my issue. That's reassuring for Cousins. What about the 52 other guys in the locker room? Is it really in their best interest to continue watching their season go down the drain because 4 straight games Kirk Cousins can't throw a touchdown pass and has thrown 8 interceptions? I feel like it might be in the moment, I wouldn't say fun to have Raheem Morris as your coach, but enjoyable because he's always going to have your back. He's going to be there for the players. He's going to stand by. He's not going to divvy out blame. He's going to take responsibility. But when the season's over and you look back and you're like, another losing year, yeah, it's nice that my coach has my back and he stands up for me, but I also want a coach that helps us win. And we're not getting that right now. And so maybe they need a coach who can make the tough decisions, that can do the unpopular thing for some, but what's best for the team moving forward. It kind of reminds me, if anyone out here is kind of like an aviation nut myself, whenever you see like clips in the cockpit or something like that from a show, you sometimes hear the pilot go like, I'm taking control. And the co-pilot says, like, you're taking control. That way they have it on the voice recorder for the black box or the audio box. Right now, Raheem Morris is taking control. Like, he is taking on the brunt of the responsibility. He is not leaving it up for doubt about if this goes south, whose blame it is. He is putting all of it on himself to try and take away some of the pressure from his players. And that's admirable, and it's respectable, and I really do enjoy that part of his coaching background and his philosophy. But when you take on that much responsibility and the plane goes down, well, there's really no question about who's to blame, right? There's plenty of moments and things we can look at and go, well, there's no question about whose fault this is. You can blame Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins wasn't going to bench himself, and that's the coach who kept standing by him despite loss after loss after loss. Kind of reminds me, if anyone's seen the show Ted Lasso. Like, I'm watching it right now. Ted Lasso, spoiler, didn't want to bench a player in season 1. The other coach was like, listen, you're being a little bit too faithful here. Like, you got to do what's best for the team, not just for the player. And now we're kind of seeing that backfire because the lack of a move has brought on a 4-game losing streak. So let me know. Should Kirk start on Monday night? He's going to start. He's going to start. We all are going to root for him to play the best version of himself as possible. But we're going to ignore a 4-game sample size? I don't think so. Imagine if a running back had 8 fumbles in 4 games. You think they would start the 5th game? No, of course not. But I feel like Kirk is starting because of the price tag and a little bit of he's our quarterback, and we made this plan from before the season started of Kirk's our quarterback and Penix is for the future, and the future is not 2024. And they do not want to deviate from that plan. Before we sign off, I just want to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Thank you guys so much for sticking by us. I mean, the last couple of weeks have not been entertaining football, but it's always great to see familiar names and faces in the chat week to week. So come hang out with us for Monday night, Falcons versus Raiders. We will have a watch party here. So if you're looking for a spot to take in the game, click on our watch party come Monday night.